So, welcome back to the channel, guys, and today, since you hit the go for the last video, for part 1, and I said I would do part 2 if this got more than 5 likes. Now, here we are for part 2 of If You Can Survive ReZero, part 2. So, let's get into it. With where we left off in the part 1, season 1, let's see if you can survive season 2, which we all know season 2 is going to be some hoops and hurdles. And mind you, in season 2, Ram with the blue hair is now unconscious, and you left that to mention. So it's you, Otto, Amelia, and I don't know who else is with you. I think, well, I pretty much that's whoever is traveling with you, to my knowledge. But you got Otto. Now, if you don't remember who Otto is, he's basically a mercenary. Not a mercenary, but a merchant. He's basically a merchant. And I gotta tell you, that man is that's your right hand man right there. You gotta keep him around because, in my opinion, Otto is up there with one of your bros. If shit goes down, he will stick to you like glue, or stick to you. Then basically, he will stick with you to the end. So here's your ride and die buddy right there, your brother right there. So there's that. And then you left Ram. No, Ram comes with you to the village. Now, how this whole season 2 will work out. So it's gonna be a lot, but stick with me with this one. So how season 2 will roll out. So first things first, you meet up with, or you get introduced to Echidna, which you don't remember who she is. Here's a picture. Well, she is one of the 7 deadly sins, which the sin of greed. But the rest, you get to meet up with the other 7 deadly sins, which we get to that when we get to part 2 with a follow-up one. But you get the premise of how part 2, if you haven't seen the anime. So here's my thing about how I'll go about this. So you bring people, you go with Amelia, right? For her to take these trials, it's going to be a lot of emotional. You might have to provide her with a lot of emotional support with this one, because for some strange reason, you got to believe in her. That's the one thing you got to do, is believe in her. However, that's not what Subaru did, unfortunately. And in this part, season 2, you're going to die one time. Unfortunately, you're going to be dying in a gruesome death more than once. So, how I will go about this is, I will go with Amelia. Same thing how the anime does it. You will go with Amelia. And once you go with Amelia, you meet Echidna. Now, Echidna you'll be talking to her too. So, that's going to be an interesting conversation. See, if I was having a conversation with her, I would be like, so, who are you? And give me information, basically. Get every single information. Same thing with part 1. You will also have to get information from her too, because it's very important. I will start asking her all sorts of types of questions. Don't let up on those questions. What Subaru did wrong was not ask enough questions, because, to be honest with you, you get the feeling that Subaru doesn't ask enough people or things around. He doesn't think from a strategic position, right? And what I mean by that is, he doesn't think things thoroughly, or from point A to point B. But you also got his other achievements too, somewhat. But all of them led down to death, to him restarting from a checkpoint. Which, do we need to summarize at how many times he actually had to go back and redo everything? Not redo, but at some checkpoint, the return by death. Let's just say I did say part 1 that we ain't gonna do all that that BS that Subaru is doing. We're gonna go the strategic route. So if Return by Death is what's gonna progress through the storyline, then damn it, that's what I'm gonna do. So that's what we're gonna do. So anyways, in my opinion, I would have asked Ekadona all the questions. What's her name? Well, she tells you her name. Apparently she knows you. Ask her name. Where am I? What are you? And follow up by other questions too. She brings up she's one of the 7 deadly sins, greed, and I'll tell you who are the others. By the way, where are they now? Oh man, I'll be start asking all such types of questions. However, you tell her that you want to help Emilia, but she tells you that Emilia, well, if you want to help Emilia, well, there's a good chance you can do so, but you got to take your own trials first. Well, not take your own trials, but you got to complete your trials too. So at least she's giving you options. So first trial, I guess, I'm guessing she will have you, I don't know, how can I say this? I would say her first trial, this is going to be made up trials too, since you're just fine. I would say the first trial is getting past your past self, right? And if you can do that, well, you're good. So, getting past your past self, or overcoming your past self, if you can manage that, you pass your trial. Let's say you overcame your past self, or not past self, but overcame your trial. You did that. Now you go to see what Emilia is up to, and unfortunately you see Emilia down in the dumps crying, and you can try to tell her that, well, I got an idea. You start to come up with ideas, and once you do, try and think here. Once you do, you start to tell her these ideas. Now, I almost forgot too. I don't know if I said this in the beginning, but Rem is unconscious, by the way. Or unconscious. And you don't know when she's going to wake up, by the way. Another thing is a temporary ex-maid of the mansion comes by and watches over the mansion too. So you got also another maid has been hired also. So you got Petra, which is this, and Frederica, which is Garfield's sister. Go figure. Brother and sister. So you got the brother stuck at the village, and then you got the sister hired as a maid. So simple as enough. So, two people I don't know where Reiner is. I bet you if Subaru calls Reinhardt, will he come to Subaru's rescue? See, that's another thing too about calling on Reinhardt. How fast can he get to where he's at to Subaru's position? That's interesting. That's quite interesting, because damn, I can't get my words out. All Subaru has to do is call Reinhardt's name and he will appear. That's at least what he said. He said, if you need me, just yell my name and I'll be there by your side, basically. So help out wherever you need, though. So he did say it himself too in season 1. So that's quite interesting. Oh, you also got Beatrice. I can't forget about that. But we are gonna get to that point. So because it's gonna be part 3. Well, part 3 is we're not season 3, but that's what part 3 is. But so back to what I was saying. So Emilia tells you that you're not helping. You don't believe in her and you don't trust her enough to overcome this challenge. So you start realizing that, oh shit, that's right. So if you have enough brain cells in your brain, you would start to see that, oh right, Emilia is probably facing her past like I did and succeeded, which she didn't. So what's the best thing you can do? Pray and convince her to go back in there and do it again. Pass that trial. You can do this. I know you can. And once you do, we're copacetic and we can proceed to the next trial. The problem is, how well can you convince Amelia? How you, viewers, can you convince Amelia that she should go back into trials? Because how I would do it, be like, oh, hit her with all the compliments, hit her with some encouragement, hit her with the, you can do it, basically, punchline. So that would be pretty interesting to see how you guys would, how would you convince Amelia to face her past like Subaru did and succeeded, which she didn't. So that would be interesting to see, because, hey, if it was me, I would hit her with the, you can do it. I know you can. You can do it. Be faster on us to proceed with these trials. I think it was only 3 trials, if I remember correctly, in season 2. I think Ericadona says 3 trials. You gotta pass 3 trials. Or was it 2 trials? I don't remember. But the faster, I would definitely tell her, the faster we get these trials over with, the faster we can go back home and cuddle. That's what I basically would tell her. And say, you know what? The faster you get this over with, the faster we can go home and progress through the storyline. You know what I mean? But you do end up with a, how storylines, how ReZero is, right? Psychological attacks, and you just got after misfortune. This bad luck around the corner every single time. Now, when I say you get introduced to Garfield and some other chick that I ain't gonna name, but you get her and Garfield, which, oh lord, I think she's the, I can't remember her name for the life of me, but you get her, and Garfield doesn't like you off rip. Besides Ram, he likes Ram, and let's just say Garfield doesn't take too kindly towards you, unless you can convince him, which you end up gaining an ally. Which Subaru, let's be honest, if we fans know how to convince Amelia and do a bunch of stuff in season 2, we won't have to like see the death count or use return by death to like 5 death counts. If you die once, that's 1. Die twice, 2. Die 3 times, that's 3. That's, and then 4 and 5. Just at that point, we like, oh, there's something that I'm not doing right at that point. That's why I'm at the point with Subaru right now, mind you. In season 2, when I watched it, I was like, so you died this many times, so something ain't hitting right, dog. And I think you get to, at one point, Subaru noticed, oh shit, something's not right. I'm not returning to a point in return by death, right? Because you see he's standing behind a cliff. Well, that's not good, right? So you end up, he end up figuring out he can't die anymore. So at some point, you realize this. I'm pretty sure that's, if you're smart enough, hopefully you're smart enough, that at some point that you decided to die all of a sudden, not die, but all of a sudden you decide to use return by death and be like, oh, so that's one time I used that, so I must have did something wrong. So you hit the restart button and go fix it and fix the problem, basically what I'm trying to say. Because return by, let's be honest, it's basically a restart button to the save point you already did, and that makes you, well, let's just say, fix a problem that you missed or didn't completely fix. That's just my opinion of how return by death works. This is my own interpretation of how return of death by death works. So I really want to, how can I do this? I'm trying to remember. So return by death, in my opinion, how I would go about it, and this is just my opinion. Well, not return by death, but this is how I would gain, let's see, Gal, or not Gal, but Garfield's attention. Put him onto my side and say, hey, I know this village is in great peril. I know you guys don't want the barrier. I think it was a barrier. I don't want the barrier to be down. or you don't want the bear to be down, so how about I do X, Y, and Z for you, and I get you on my side, because right now, I need you to trust me. And Otto's with you too, so at some point, Garfield does come after you and attack you for certain amount of reasons. But Garfield is too thick-headed. So at some point, you get Garfield on your side, and let's just say, I don't know how you're going to go about it, but he's a tiger. So if you manage to get Garfield on your side without dying, that is good progress, because I cannot think of a single thing I can do to get him by my side unless I have to use Return by Death 2 times to actually convince him while him getting mad, right? So I want to make a part 3 of this video. So I don't know, but if you like this video, subscribe and comment down below if you think you can survive season 2 ReZero and not have to use Return by Death as much, because at one point you will have to use Return by Death. Let's get this video up to, let's say, not video, but get the like up to 5. Same thing like last time, 5 likes. And if you guys end up getting this video up to 5 likes, part 3 will come out. And we're still in season 2, by the way, so that's... And my memory of this anime is kind of crappy, so that's going to be interesting. So, thank you again, and thanks for your patience, by the way. And also, besides patience, thank you for taking a look at this video, because, hey, you gotta do what you love, right? And watching, too. By the way, have you guys ever watched the anime called Air Gear? Because that's coming up the next video that I'm about to make. So, see you again, and see you next adventure. Laters.